Russia invests years training its deadliest soldiers, millions of dollars in defense systems that are supposed to be impenetrable, and decades perfecting a military doctrine that has conquered empires. Ukraine only needed 17 drones printed in Kiev basements and a group of pilots who had never flown a real airplane. What happened in the early hours of October 10th forever changed the rules of modern warfare, and most people didn't even notice. A Russian airbase valued at $500 million, protected by some of the world's most advanced defense systems, vanished from the map in less than 10 minutes. It wasn't destroyed by cruise missiles costing millions. It wasn't bombed by fifth-generation fighters. It was annihilated by drones that cost less than a used car, piloted by people who learned to fly watching YouTube videos. And the most terrifying part is that this isn't science fiction or propaganda. It's the new reality of war, and it's happening right now. The invisible threat no one saw coming. It's 2:33 a.m. on October 10th, 2025. The Russian airbase at Kalino sleeps under a blanket of false security. In the center of the base, the powerful 96L6 cheeseboard radar completes its majestic rotation every 12 seconds, sweeping the sky for threats. This technological giant can detect a ballistic missile 400 kilometers away, track 100 targets simultaneously, and guide interceptor missiles with millimeter precision. It costs over $50 million and represents the best of Russian defense engineering. But right now, it's completely useless, because 28 kilometers away, flying just 25 meters off the ground, a threat is approaching that this radar was never designed to detect. The swarm consists of 17 drones divided into two lethal categories: 7 hammers, the Perun F2, heavy drones equipped with thermobaric warheads capable of turning reinforced bunkers into infernal ovens, and 10 wasps, agile and fast drones armed with RPG grenades adapted for surgical precision strikes. The swarm leader, an operator with the codename Koval, pilots one of the Perun F2 from a secret location over 100 kilometers away. His screen shows a crucial piece of data that knots his stomach: battery at 41%. That gives him exactly 20 minutes of flight time to complete his mission. No room for error, no second chance, no plan B. It's precise demolition or total failure. The swarm flies at a constant suicidal altitude of 25 meters. At this height, skimming treetops and the roofs of abandoned farms, the Earth's curvature becomes their best ally. It creates what engineers call a radar horizon, a geometric barrier that no technology can overcome because it's based on pure physics. The powerful cheeseboard radar can track a hypersonic missile in the stratosphere, can follow satellites in low orbit, but it can't see through a hill. It's physics so basic even a child understands it. If you want to steal cookies from the jar in the kitchen and mom's in the living room, you crawl on the floor. She doesn't see you not because she's blind, but because the counter blocks her line of sight. The same principle is saving the lives of these 17 drones right now. But this game has its deadly dangers. At 25 meters off the ground, flying at 180 kilometers per hour in total darkness, one wrong move means the instant end of the mission. An unexpected gust of wind, a 1-meter miscalculation, a tree that didn't show up on satellite maps, and the drone becomes a fireball. Behind Koval's heavy Perun F2, the other 16 drones hold their position in a formation that looks choreographed. But here's the detail that makes Russian military strategists tremble when they finally analyze what happened. These drones didn't come off a high-tech military assembly line. Their carbon fiber chassis were 3D printed in Kiev basements by volunteers who previously made parts for racing drones and children's toys. Each Perun F2 with its thermobaric warhead has a manufacturing cost of $15,000. The 10 lighter drones with adapted RPG grenades barely reach $5,000 each. Let's do the math that makes any defense analyst cry. 17 drones with a total combined cost of $155,000 have been sent to annihilate a military base valued at $500 million. It's a cost-benefit ratio of over 3,000 to 1. If you had that return rate in the stock market, you'd be a multimillionaire in a year. But this isn't the stock market. It's asymmetric warfare in its purest and most brutal form. And the most terrifying part is that if these drones reach their target, that ratio becomes even more obscene. These drones don't operate with a single centralized brain or an artificial intelligence supercomputer coordinating every move. They're controlled by 17 humans, 17 pairs of eyes and thumbs, connected via video signals so basic that the transmitters are bought online for $50 from stores for racing drone hobbyists. The Russian tactic is obvious and has worked for months. Jam that signal with electronic warfare and leave the drones blind, flying out of control until they crash or run out of battery. But here's the brilliant trap the Ukrainians discovered. There's no master switch to shut down the entire swarm at once. No single frequency to jam, no centralized data link to interrupt. The real strength of the swarm isn't in the technology, it's in the humans. Russia can silence a $50 transmitter with electronic warfare equipment costing millions. Yes, they can do that, but they can't simultaneously shut down the skill, improvisation, determination, and sheer stubbornness of 17 Ukrainian pilots at the same time. It's like trying to put out 17 different fires with a single extinguisher. At 2:40 a.m., Koval's voice echoes in the headsets of the other 16 pilots. A single word in Ukrainian: Spider. It's the signal they have been waiting for. The united line of the swarm dissolves instantly. The 7 heavy Perun F-2 continue their direct advance toward the heart of the base, becoming the spearhead that will draw all the defense's attention. The 10 light drones split into 2 flanks, fanning out to the east and west like a scorpion's pincers. This creates what operators call vector saturation, a technical term for a geometric nightmare that will force Russian defenses to spin frantically, unable to cover a 120-degree attack arc simultaneously. It's like playing whack-a-mole, but the moles are lethal, moving at 180 kilometers per hour, and if you miss, you die. The impenetrable defense that wasn't so impenetrable. The Kalino Air Base is no easy target. Its defense is built around a full S-400 Triumph battery, Russia's most advanced air defense system and one of the most feared in the world. Its main eye, the 96-Lusix cheeseboard surveillance radar, completes a rotation every 12 seconds, sweeping the sky with electromagnetic waves that can detect virtually anything that flies. Beside it, the 92N6E Gravestone fire control radar actively searches for targets to lock onto, calculating trajectories and interception solutions with supercomputer precision. 4 launchers with 16 48N6 missiles stand ready for orders, each missile valued at $2 million and capable of downing aircraft 250 kilometers away. As personal bodyguards to the S-400, 2 Pantsir S-1 systems stand guard, ready to pulverize any threat that gets too close. In theory, this place is one of the most watched jewels of the Russian Air Force. In theory. At 2:41, Sergeant Antonov, operator of one of the Pantsir S-1, stares at his acquisition screen with a mix of disbelief and growing panic. The system, designed and optimized to intercept supersonic cruise missiles, shows 17 blinking dots 28 kilometers away. His trained brain does the calculations instantly, and the numbers are brutal. His Pantsir battery can engage 4 targets simultaneously under ideal conditions. 17 targets are more than quadruple its maximum capacity. But that's not the worst problem, not even close. Antonov knows his system better than the back of his hand. He spent 3 years operating it, read the full technical manual twice, conducted dozens of training exercises. He knows the Pantsir's effective range against conventional fighters is 15 kilometers, and against cruise missiles, 10 kilometers. But the manual is brutally clear on one specific point. Against targets with a radar cross-section under 0.1 square meters, the effective range plummets to just 5 kilometers. These drones on his screen register 0.05 square meters. They're practically invisible to his radar until they're dangerously close. The terrifying reality hits him like a punch in the gut. To have a real chance of hitting, he must wait until the swarm is practically on top of them. It's like letting a wolf into your house so you can shoot it at point-blank range. The 17 drones, now spread across a 4-kilometer front, rush toward the base at 180 kilometers per hour. Antonov does the mental calculation every air defense operator learns on their first day of training. The instant the drones cross the 5-kilometer line, he'll have exactly 100 seconds until the first impact. 100 seconds to save a $500 million base. 100 seconds to justify years of training and millions invested in equipment. 100 seconds that will determine if he's a hero or the scapegoat for a disaster. His Pantsir's fire control computer flickers, trying to calculate firing solutions, but the numbers on the screen are a cruel mockery. Antonov knows the system's memory cycle, 2 seconds for the radar to lock the target with enough precision. 1 second for missile launch from the tube. 6 to 8 seconds of supersonic flight to the target. And 2 seconds to confirm destruction before moving to the next target. In the most perfect conditions, with an expert operator and cooperative targets flying straight, that's 13 seconds per drone. His vehicle has 12 missiles ready in its launch tubes. A full reload takes 5 minutes, an eternity in combat. To destroy just the 9 drones heading straight for his sector, he'd need 117 seconds. The clock already tells him he has only 100. And that's assuming every missile, every burst from his 30mm cannon is a perfect, lethal hit. It's like trying to assemble IKEA furniture with the wrong instructions during an earthquake, while someone yells that you have 2 minutes before it explodes. Good luck, Sergeant. While Antonov sweats cold in his air-conditioned Panzer cabin, 500 meters away, the S-400's 96 SLAG's cheeseboard radar continues its majestic and completely useless rotation. This L-band technological giant, capable of detecting a stealth fighter 400 kilometers away and tracking 100 targets simultaneously, has an Achilles heel the size of a building. Its minimum effective sweep altitude is 50 meters. It's designed to detect high-flying threats: strategic bombers, cruise missiles in cruise phase, fighters on attack missions. For this sophisticated radar, drones flying at 25 meters simply don't exist. They're like submarines in the ocean depths to a surface radar, invisible not due to advanced stealth technology, but simple geometry. Therefore, the S-400's 4 launchers with their 16 $2 million 48N6 missiles remain in indifferent standby, like sleeping lions unaware that hunters are approaching. In theory, these missiles could wipe out nearly the entire swarm in one coordinated strike. Each missile has a 250-kilometer range and can hit targets at 30,000 meters altitude. Their weapons designed to down AWACS planes, strategic bombers, even ballistic missiles in their terminal phase. But in practice, right now, they're the most expensive and useless monuments in the world. Without data from the Gravestone radar, without precise target coordinates, those missiles are as useful as $2 million paperweights. The attack that rewrote the rules at 244, Antonov's geometric nightmare turns into a 3-dimensional hell. The drone web stops expanding and begins contracting like a trap closing. The 17 drones initiate their final attack runs from their 120-degree arc, converging on the base from 8 different vectors. His Panzer's turret can rotate at 100 degrees per second, a dizzying speed that looks impressive in demonstrations. But it's completely useless in this scenario. To fire accurately, the turret must stop, lock the target with the tracking radar, and launch. Engaging a drone on the western end of the arc and then swinging 120 degrees to hit another on the east costs 4 crucial seconds of reacquisition. 4 seconds in which the drones close 200 meters. The second Panzer, positioned 800 meters to the south, faces exactly the same impossible equation. Between both systems, they have 24 missiles ready to fire and 2 30mm automatic cannons capable of spitting 2,500 rounds per minute. Against a squadron of fighters flying in predictable formation, it would be a formidable defense guaranteeing the destruction of most attackers. But against 17 unpredictable drones, each piloted by a human who can change direction instantly, who can climb, dive, turn, without worrying about G-forces that would kill a pilot, it's nothing more than a defiant gesture. It's like trying to kill flies with a sniper rifle. At 2:45, just 6 kilometers away, Sergeant Antonov finally gets a solid lock tone. The Panzer's fire control computer locks drone number 1, then 2, calculating interception vectors. And then the processor chokes. The system, designed to calculate predictable ballistic trajectories of missiles flying straight at constant speeds, stutters trying to prioritize 15 more targets, each with a human pilot moving with erratic, unpredictable aggression. Antonov can hear the high-pitched whine of the CPU fan working at maximum, on the verge of thermal collapse. It's a sound he never heard in training exercises. The first 57 E6 missile blasts from the launch tube 12 seconds after the initial lock. 12 seconds that feel like an eternity. The missile accelerates to Mach 3 in a blink, a tungsten and explosive needle streaking through the night with a bright trail. But the computer, in a logical act of desperation that makes sense to an algorithm but not to a human, hasn't targeted the closest or most dangerous drone. It targeted the one flying straightest, the easiest to calculate, the one requiring the least processing. The missile covers 5 kilometers in 6.3 seconds. Its proximity fuse emits high-frequency radio pulses, seeking the echo of a metal fuselage to detonate its fragmentation warhead. It finds nothing. The missile passes 3 meters from a carbon fiber and plastic structure that absorbs radio waves instead of reflecting them, and continues its journey to the eastern horizon until it self-destructs 20 kilometers away. 2 million rubles turned into useless fireworks. Furious at the machine's failure at the algorithm supposed to be infallible, Antonov slams the override panel and takes manual control. He ignores the agile light drones zigzagging like enraged wasps. He centers his reticle on a larger, slower Perun F2, a juicy target filling his screen. The second missile blasts from the tube instantly, obeying his thumb and instinct, not a confused algorithm. This time the proximity fuse works perfectly. The heavy drone disintegrates in a cloud of tungsten and carbon fiber fragments, an orange fireball briefly illuminating the night sky. 1 down, 16 remaining. But the brutal math is this. He's burned 25 seconds total since the first lock. The lead drones are now at 3.5 kilometers. Time to impact, 70 seconds. Missiles left in his vehicle, 10, and 16 drones still in the air. If you're fascinated by how 17 cheap drones are shredding defenses costing hundreds of millions and want to see more analysis of military tactics changing modern warfare, subscribe to the channel because what's coming next is even more impressive. 10 kilometers to the east, at the Voronezh Air Base, alert sirens brutally wake 2 Su-35 pilots. They receive emergency takeoff orders, 90 seconds to be airborne. Central Command reports a massive drone attack on Kalino. With afterburners at maximum consuming fuel at an insane rate, their fighters climb like rockets while accelerating to 2,000 kilometers per hour. They're 2 of Russia's most advanced fighters, each valued at $85 million, piloted by men with years of training. But distance is a simple, immutable physics problem. At that speed, their flight time to Kalino is 7 minutes. They'll arrive just in time for their advanced sensors and latest generation radars to offer a perfect, high-definition view of the smoking ruins and fire columns. They'll be spectators, not saviors. 10 seconds after the second downing, the second Panzer finally joins the fight. Its operator, having seen his comrade's computer failure, immediately abandons automatic mode. He fires in manual salvo mode, launching missiles every 3 seconds by pure instinct and training, without waiting for computer confirmations. The night air fills with white smoke trails and the high-pitched whistle of supersonic missiles. 2 light drones vanish in near-simultaneous fireballs, burning fragments raining down. 14 remaining. But the hive mind no longer waits, no longer holds formation. Koval gives the final order all pilots have been waiting for. Hornet Protocol. The remaining 14 pilots execute their final suicidal attack profiles with precision that seems choreographed, but is pure coordinated improvisation. The 6 remaining Perun F2 dive straight toward their assigned armored targets, maximizing impact speed to penetrate reinforced structures. The 8 light drones descend to just 10 meters off the ground, using buildings, parked vehicles, and the smoking wreckage of downed drones as cover to pop out from angles no defense system can cover simultaneously. The coordinated defense breaks completely. It's pure chaos. Just after 2:46, both Panzer systems go silent almost simultaneously. They've fired their 24 missiles in under 2 minutes. The final tally is devastating. 5 drones destroyed, 12 still in the air and closing. With a 5-minute reload and less than 60 seconds to first impact, the sergeants desperately switch to the 30mm automatic cannons. It's like trying to hunt hummingbirds with a shotgun while blindfolded. Their tracer bursts slice through the night, creating bright lines of fire that hit nothing but empty air. The drones are too small, too fast, too unpredictable. In that moment of pure desperation, the S-400 commander, watching the disaster unfold on his screens, authorizes a blind launch without precise gravestone radar data. It's a direct violation of protocol, but protocol no longer matters. 2 $2 million 48 N6 missiles roar into the night sky with bright trails. They're designed to intercept strategic bombers at 200 kilometers altitude, to down ballistic missiles in terminal phase. But against carbon fiber drones flying less than 2 kilometers away and just 10 meters off the ground, they're completely useless. Both missiles fly over the swarm and self-destruct 15 kilometers away. $4 million turned into a useless light show. The collapse of a fortress. At 2:47, Sergeant Antonov knows with absolute certainty they're finished. 12 drones are inside the 500-meter perimeter. A storm of carbon fiber and explosives descending from 8 distinct vectors. His Panzer's turret spins frantically, the 30mm cannon spitting fire into the night, but it's like trying to put out a forest fire with a water pistol. He and the other operator can see the end unfolding on their screens, can hear the high-pitched buzz of electric motors closing in, can feel the vibration in the ground through their cabin seats. But they can't stop it. They watch helplessly as the dots converge on their screens. 4 Perun toward the command bunker, 2 toward the fuel depot, 2 toward the hangars where the parked Su-30s sleep. The 30mm cannons spit useless tracers that light up the night but hit nothing but air. Exactly at 2:47 and 32 seconds, the first Perun F-2 impacts the reinforced steel door of the underground command bunker. Its warhead is a Ukrainian-designed thermobaric weapon, not meant to penetrate like a conventional-shaped charge, but to annihilate everything inside with heat and overpressure. The initial detonation disperses a fine aerosol of fuel mixed with aluminum particles into the interior air. A microsecond later, a second charge ignites it. The resulting fireball reaches 3,000 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt steel. It consumes all available oxygen in less than a second, creating an overpressure wave that blasts the reinforced door inward like crumpled aluminum foil. The bunker's interior becomes an infernal microwave where nothing organic can survive. 5 seconds later, the second Perun F-2 ignores the already destroyed door. Its pilot, seeing real-time footage, directs the drone toward the bunker's main ventilation grill, a weak point identified in satellite images weeks earlier. The thermobaric detonation occurs inside the steel duct, turning the base's life support system into a death distribution system. The overpressure wave and fire travel through the ventilation tunnels at supersonic speeds, bursting every connected room from the inside, frying communication servers and killing anyone who survived the first blast. The command bunker, designed to withstand conventional bombing and even tactical nuclear weapons, is completely neutralized in under 10 seconds. At 2:48, the last 2 Perun F-2 from the main attack group reach their target, the 96L6 cheeseboard radar. They don't need surgical precision, just brute force applied at the right spot. The first drone detonates its thermobaric charge at the base of the support mast, shattering reinforced concrete and bending structural steel beams like wire. 7 seconds later, as the weakened structure sways, the second drone impacts the connection point between the antenna and its rotating base. The 30-ton antenna, designed to withstand 200-kilometer-per-hour hurricane winds, tears from its mount with a metallic roar heard kilometers away. It collapses sideways, crushing 2 support vehicles and severing power lines. The base's eye is permanently blinded. Just 3 seconds later, a light drone with adapted RPG-7 payload finds its priority target, the main fuel depot feeding the entire base. But its pilot isn't a novice who just crashes the drone into the tank. He attacks the upper pressure valve, a weak point identified in leaked construction blueprints months ago. The RPG grenade pierces the thin metal valve housing and detonates inside, in the space filled with aviation kerosene vapor. It's the perfect mixture, the ideal fuel-to-oxygen ratio. The vapor ignites in a subsonic deflagration, an explosion creating an instant overpressure wave. The 200,000-liter tank's roof blows off and flies away like the lid of a shaken soda can. A geyser of burning fuel at 2,000 degrees Celsius shoots into the night sky, creating an artificial orange sun illuminating the entire base with ghostly, terrifying light. The fire column is visible from 30 kilometers away. At 2:49, the last 7 light drones with RPG-7 payloads execute the final annihilation phase. They dive against the maintenance hangars where 4 $50 million Su-30s each sleep, against the pilot's barracks, against ammunition transport vehicles, and against electrical substations. Each impact is calculated, each target selected weeks earlier during planning. No waste, no random attacks. It's surgical demolition executed with millimeter precision, using tools that cost less than a used car. At 2:51, just 18 minutes after the attack began, the two Su-35 fighters finally arrive in the area. Their ER/SE radars, capable of tracking 30 targets simultaneously at 400 kilometers, detect no active friendly signals. The Kalino base has been erased from the electromagnetic spectrum. What their eyes see through the cockpits is a scene straight out of the apocalypse. The fuel depot's artificial sun still burns, illuminating black smoke columns rising from a dozen different points. Secondary explosions still pepper the night as stored munitions cook off and detonate. The patrol leader makes a single reconnaissance pass, his high-definition camera recording irrefutable evidence. There's nothing to do, no one to save, no enemy to pursue. The drones are gone, the survivors already heading back or crashed after depleting their batteries. The post-analysis is devastating. A base valued at $500 million, protected by defense systems costing another $200 million, was completely destroyed by 17 drones with a total cost of $155,000. The cost-benefit ratio is over 4,500 to 1. 4 Su-30 fighters destroyed, $200 million. The cheeseboard radar, $50 million. The command bunker, $80 million in construction and equipment. The fuel depot and support facilities, another $170 million. And most importantly, the base will be inoperative for at least 6 months while they rebuild critical infrastructure. But the financial numbers don't tell the whole story. 17 3D printed drones, piloted by people who learned to fly with simulators and YouTube videos, guided by $50 radio signals, prove that technological superiority no longer lies in the weapon's cost. It lies in the audacity, creativity, and determination of those guiding it. They proved that a $200 million defense system can be completely useless if the attacker understands its limitations and exploits them ruthlessly. And the most terrifying thing for military strategists worldwide, they prove this tactic is replicable, scalable, and nearly impossible to defend with conventional technology. War has changed. It's no longer about who has the heaviest tanks, the fastest fighters, or the most expensive missiles. It's about who can manufacture more drones faster, who can train more pilots more efficiently, and who has the will to use swarms of cheap machines to saturate expensive defenses. It's asymmetric warfare in its purest form, and it's rewriting a century of military doctrine before our eyes. If you enjoyed discovering how 17 drones change the rules of modern warfare, and want to keep seeing analysis of technologies and tactics redefining current conflicts, subscribe to the channel because this is just the beginning, and what's coming will be even more impressive.